I was hired by the clients and they paid me to do my job, and I did the design and I did all the drawings and all the specifications, and then they hired this GC, and the GC didn't even bother to look at my drawings.
Oh.
And then the execution was obviously not as successful as we planned it to be.
Well, hello. Today on the Builder's Blueprint podcast, we are having a special guest. Her name is Gil Berkovich with Gil Berkovich Interiors. She's also happened to be my wife, my very best friend, my partner in crime and business. So welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Gil is here.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So for today's episode, we will try and talk about project management in terms of ownership, almost in a way, right? So who is responsible for the job site? Is that the builder? Is that the designer that got the vision for the build? Is that the builder actually swinging the hammer and building the project? It's a big topic, big discussion that we'll try and break down, set one for good. And here we are. So Gil, welcome.
Thank you.
How's your day? How is everything in Southern California for you?
It's fabulous.
How is home?
It's
How's
marvelous.
The daughters?
Everything is just so great, and I'm so thankful for that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So before we start, just to tell you a bit about Gil, she's having her own practice in interior design. Graduated Columbia College, Chicago, interior architecture, and
I earned a BFA.
And under her belt, she got pretty amazing projects, usually on the higher end side of things, and we did work together multiple times. So a lot of our projects are common. Some of them are not, but a lot of them are common. So I think this topic today is touching us in so many ways, and I'm very excited about it. So,
Likewise.
Cool. Gil, tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me about your journey from the moment you kind of decided to be an interior designer to today.
So ever since I remember myself, I knew that this is my passion, and I always loved rearranging furniture and thinking about, I used to go into a room as a child thinking about, what if I could take down this wall or put a new wall instead, and this would be so much better. This could make this space so much better. And so I've always had the passion, and luckily enough, when we moved to Chicago, I've had the opportunity to pursue and go to school. And I started in a community college, and then I transferred to Columbia College Chicago for a BFA in interior architecture. And it was pretty natural to me. It was a no-brainer to me that this is what I want to do, and this is my passion, and I love it. Sometimes I hate it, but I love it. And I'm grateful to be able to work in what I love to do the most.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Then Chicago, you were working for some interior design firms. Tell us a bit more about your journey there.
So I've worked for some residential firms in Chicago, and it was a great practice. And the last designer I worked for was really awesome, and she just kind of like let me fly and let me do my thing. So I'm really, really grateful for that, and I'm in touch with her until today. And it was hard, but it was really rewarding and really important.
Shout out to Anna Knight for Parker.
Shout out to Anna Knight Interiors from Chicago. She is just awesome, so amazing, and super talented. If we will tag you,
or if you're ever listening to the podcast, thank you for helping Gil and in a way helping us kind of climb up the ladder of
Right.
professionalism and career.
I love her.
And then after races, you go to San Diego, which is a big change in your career. That's where you kind of pursue your dreams and you become a real successful interior designer. Tell me about that.
So when we moved to San Diego after COVID hit, and you kind of like decided that we're taking ourselves the dog and driving here,
Sorry,
which
but not sorry.
I'm not complaining about. I've decided that it's time to start my own business, and I just went for it, and here I am
Cool.
doing my own thing.
So, well, we can talk about your career forever as a side observer and as a partner in a way. I'm overly impressed with what you got for yourself in such a short period of time, and even me personally, you've added so much value to me and my business as a builder, Soho as a company by directing us in a way towards the high-end niche and showing us that everything is really possible and we can execute every crazy design you had in your brain. You got a couple of really interesting ones for sure. And what brings me to talk about the relationship between an interior designer and a builder, more in particular, interior designer and Soho. Tell me a bit about that. How, what is that? What's that looks like for you as a designer to collaborate with builders and, just maybe open our eyes to that a little bit.
Well, first of all, we have to, right? We have to collaborate with builders. I'm not a builder. I'm not interested in that role. So it is a given situation that we need someone to turn our dreams and our vision into reality. And the key is communication.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm sure in all of the designers' opinion, because we need to put the benefit of the project, the benefit of the client in particular, and how we want everything to turn out. We need to put that first.
Right. So I guess that leads us to the biggest question of today's episode, and who is in charge? It's really confusing. I can tell, I can speak for myself that sometimes even I cannot explain to the client who is in charge in every given moment of the project. But, obviously when the design starts, then it's more of you and the architect kind of taking over designing, the builder is value engineering and stepping in when his knowledge is needed and his experience is needed. But then the project starts and you do have a PM to deal with, and you do have, a general contractor to deal with, multiple different subs. Who's in charge?
So here as well, my based on my practice and what I've learned, it's a mutual responsibility. So first and foremost, it is my responsibility to create and to serve all the construction drawings or builder set for you, and to make sure all the details and everything that we're designing, and that you have everything you need from me, whether it's the set, all the drawings, all the specifications, the FF&E, all the details. It's my responsibility to make sure I give everything to you. And then once you have it, you're in charge to make that. You're in charge to execute. But it's also my responsibility to do site visits and to ensure that everything is being executed as planned.
You kind of touched that, site visits and all that. And I'm sure the collaboration between, we both know it, right? The collaboration between interior designer and builder can be sometimes challenging in a way that, especially when it comes to finishes, to the finish line, the last 30% of the project, once everything is roughed in, ready to go, and to see all of your beautiful finishes getting installed, then you're coming to site, and it's not always your wished 100% dream. And there is a builder on the other side, right, that is trying to go and manage a business. And yes, we're trying to get to 100, but sometimes you need to make decisions on the fly. How do you manage the energy between stepping too hard and still not giving up on the plan as you want it? Like, what is the balance? What is the line? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not an IKEA product. It's not that you're building it. It's a standalone product, and it's easy to understand how it's going to look like. It's a lot of different variables.
Right. I think this is a really good question. I believe so. We always have challenges, and oftentimes, in reality, things don't get executed like we envision them to. Right. So we have the set of plans that we worked so hard on, and sometimes in reality, things needs to shift. Sometimes you open the walls and you discover unexpected beams or support or plumbing, or things need to change. And then it is my role to step in, communicate with you, and see what the solution is. Because at the end of the day, we're problem solvers, right?
Yeah.
And it is our responsibility to let the client know that, hey, this is happening right now and it's a bummer, but we're here with a solution. And we won't stuck. We're moving forward. We're talking about solutions. And with the right collaboration, with which I feel oftentimes this is the case when I'm working with Soho, we're brainstorming, we have a solution or multiple solutions, we're proposing it to the client, and we're moving forward to the next step, to the next phase, to the next problem.
Okay. Well said. I think we kind of touched that topic in, from my above, and we can talk about it forever. But do you think that interior designers do understand the realities of construction for the most part?
For the most part, yeah, yes, but not always. Sometimes we have a vision and we don't always know how to execute it. We're not always 100% into like the details of what it takes to make that happen.
Can you give me like a good example of one thing that is like really hard to execute, that you came over to your contractor, me or a different guy, it doesn't matter. Hopefully me. Give me a couple of points, but it doesn't matter.
With you, it's actually easy.
Really? Thank you.
Because we're always talking about it ahead of time.
Just worried about my life and kind of thing.
Yeah.
But give me like one example or run through one scenario that you thought something is really simple and you planned for it and it was like, oh, that's perfect. This is how it's going to look like. And then in reality, it just wasn't the case. It was, and if you don't have anything on top of your mind, that's okay.
I mean, I have. Sometimes it's around supporting heavy stones. Making. I have. I design like this beautiful fireplace mantle. It's floating and it's like a super amazing piece of natural stone, but it's extremely heavy.
Yeah.
And then the entire design is changing and you need to open up the wall and you need to make sure you have the support needed and you need to make sure it's safe. And, it's not all about us coming up with this fabulous idea. Someone needs to make sure that piece of stone will hold.
Right.
Yeah.
The way I see it as well is if you are in an early relationship and the relationship is good and it's close between the interior designer and the builder, and the builder understands the scope from the get-go, it's just easier to plan for it and to notify or to explore because everything, you can build everything, right? You can build spaceships, you can build whatever you want, you can build stadiums. So definitely you can support a heavy stone. I guess.
Right. It's a matter of time, sources, costs,
Right.
The clients needs to be aware to everything it takes to execute those wonderful ideas. But yes, with you guys, we're always meeting before construction starts. We're reviewing all the details, and I am here as the designer to hold your hand and to make sure that you have everything you need from me.
Or just to watch sunset. Anyways, I gotta be that guy. That's real me. Now, when we talk about the difficulties in execution, and you talk about heavy stones, but it can be in different parts of the project. Sorry. What is happening to that lovely GC if he decides to take a decision without consulting you? Means that the design
He's gonna be in a really big problem. I'm gonna be really mad.
Yeah.
And frustrated. And the design will be compromised oftentimes. Yeah, I really don't want the GC to take any decision without me if it's a design related decision. But almost every decision he will take will affect the design. So
do you feel like most contractors do appreciate the interior design part of their projects, or do you feel like they have some that just underestimating the design?
I think that the more high-end projects this builder is working on, the more he values having a designer by his side or her side. There are some GCs, women. And sometimes, there are some GCs that don't really want us to be in their way.
Yeah.
This is also something that needs to be said, because I do feel like that sometimes, and it's unfortunate because it happened to me before that. I was hired by the clients and they paid me to do my job, and I did the design and I did all the drawings and all the specifications, and then they hired this GC and the GC didn't even bother to look at my drawings.
Oh.
And then the execution was obviously not as successful as we planned it to be.
Well, guys, if you're a GC and you're listening, if your business model is to build yourself around high-end designs, you gotta make sure that your interior designers are happy. But at the same time, think about your portfolio. All the beautiful details they design will show up on your portfolio. That goes with you. That's your digital asset. Make sure to consult and come up on a solution together. Let's talk about, the job sites, right? You walk a job site and there's an unexpected situation there. There's an unforeseen, things are not as they plan to be on framing side, on the MEP side, doesn't matter what it is. Then you got to put down a fire. Okay, let's put it that way, right? And a design detail cannot be executed the way you wished it will. Now what? What is like the first thing you do? Do you call the client? Do you call the GC?
No.
What's you're talking to your sub? What is it that you do?
So my rule of thumb is to make sure I communicate with the builder or with the project manager, and we discuss it thoroughly before bringing it up to the client. So the client, they hired us, right? I love to keep them out of it, out of the
to what level?
Panicking. There's sometimes I get into a panic mode, right? Like, oh my God, me. That's me. And
so what do you need? You're an interior designer running a project. The GCs, it's not Soho. Let's just call it X. What do you need from them right now? You got into a situation. It is the end of the world professionally for you. You're like, oh my God.
This was my most important detail. This
Correct.
was my focal point. And
exactly. You got there and it's not even close to what you want.
I want that person to first be really honest and straight about the situation. I don't want to hear stories, I don't want to hear, I don't want them to maneuver things around. I want to hear exactly what it is. I want, if possible, to hear about a possible solution. And I also want to have the ability to offer some solutions that I'm coming up with, and maybe this is something that we could do, because sometimes I also have good solutions to certain situations, even though I don't have the knowledge that your project manager have. But
Yeah. I'm going
and
to
then
add to
we're
that.
coming up to like what could be the best solution possible given this circumstances.
Yeah, I think you touched it, but honesty, it's not a one-way street. It's not a one-way road. It is all the way up. Means that I'm facing something, I'm communicating that in the most honest way, your way, and we are going to communicate that on the most honest way to our clients, and we're going to solve it on the most honest and fair way per our contracts, because that's what we got hired for. You just said it earlier, and that was the design.
We're
It was there
professionals.
it was there from day one. If you missed the way it needs to get built, and now we just had well, I'm not going to mention names, but we had this countertop situation on our last very beautiful project. I don't know if you remember that, with the outlets, that there were, to be honest, they were cutting the freaking slab wrong for the wrong outlet. It was a System 22 outlet, by the way, beautiful, beautiful product, but they cut it for a traditional outlet, and we caught it. We caught it. Me and you, we caught it. We're not hiding. We're not hiding behind
After
cut.
it's been cut.
Correct.
And
it is a new
purchased
product.
a new slab.
It is a newer product, and the company is a great company doing fabrication for us. And it was there, but it was like a trio, maybe four-way thing, right, between us, the countertop guy, the PM. Everybody kind of missed it. Maybe even the electrician. Like, everybody missed it a little bit because the roughing was wrong. Yada yada.
It was also my fault. It was everyone's fault.
It was
Correct.
everybody's fault. So now you're facing a really expensive slab and another fabrication and time. Now what?
And you just need to make it all happen. And you need to make sure that the client is happy and not upset. And circling back to the question, this is how I love to work and to communicate with my clients. I always prefer to speak with them once we have this solution, which is the best possible solution, and to explain to them also in a very honest and straightforward way what have happened and what the solution is.
Cool. So on this particular situation, by the way, for you to know, the client, just the only thing they got from us is, hey, we cut wrong. We were cutting it again. We were buying whatever we need to buy to cut it again and to make it right. And the fabricators, us and Gil, if I remember correctly, but we somehow split the cost between us and we move forward. And just adding to what we just said, speed is also a key. If you're trying to scratch your head forever around every single detail without understanding that part of your business is losing some and winning some, you're just in the wrong industry. On every project, allocate 10% to situations that may occur. And the more complex design you're having, allocate more.
Right. And oftentimes in these situations, people can throw each other under the bus.
Yeah.
When it comes to, need to pay for mistakes. It could get tricky. It's complex, but yeah.
Who do you want to be? That is the real question. Do you want to maintain and retain the relationship? If you do want to maintain and retain the relationship with the sub and designer, you must know that you need to find common ground. If you do not want to maintain that, and if you don't care about the relationship, then you can use a different approach. But in our world, there is nothing more important than keeping you happy. Mm-hmm. So that's about it. Yeah, so we kind of talked about what great contractor designer relationship looks like, and what is the biggest thing that makes a project successful. You just answered that. It is more like communication, and
It's all about communication
and honesty.
and managing expectations.
Gil, what keeps you up at night? When it comes to work.
All the things.
All the things. Least top 3 for me.
Wow, that is a hard question.
Yeah, it's off the script. I told you. I told him
there
I'm
are
going to
so many things that keeps me up at night. Honestly, well, this is also about me trying to get better about taking overthinking about problems or about potential problems. What keeps me up at night? If I'm facing a really big stone installation.
That will keep you up at night. That's good.
Yes. If I've had an issue with the GC, that would keep me up at night. If the client is unhappy about something or is not happy about an installation, that would definitely keep me up at night.
Yeah. And on the other, like adding to that, what keeps you balanced? Like, tell me about your life routine. Like, what do you do for fun? How do you maintain a healthy lifestyle that helps you go through the tough parts of life or of work? What do you do? How you look really good. So what is what is your secret spice?
This is I don't know how professional that is.
Oh, you should.
First and foremost, I have my babies, my 2 girls. They bring the most joy to my life. They're my entire world, and this is also a part of me trying to stay away from thinking about work when I'm not at work so I can really be with them. For whoever knows me, know that after I've had our first daughter, I immediately went back to work.
Right.
And I didn't took any leave, and it affected me in a way that I wasn't present. I even when I was present, my head was in a work zone. So now, after I've had our second daughter, Ari, I'm really trying to be a good mother for them, and that fills me with joy. So it's that, and then taking care of myself, work out, eat healthy.
Nice.
And really trying to keep that balance of work-life balance.
Good social life, good relationships will keep your longevity for sure.
And Mir.
And me.
You, my husband.
You called me raw.
And I think we're also trying to not talk about work all the time, which is also important.
We can do a whole episode just about that, because our first year
marriage as a GC and a
we were just
designer.
young 2 professionals, so we thought it's really like cool talking about it, but it just took over. Now we're really trying to switch it.
We're going back
turn it
home, and we're really
and just
trying
have
not to talk
with
about
our daughters, because that's what they need. They don't need John and Marilyn and David from work and all the BS they brought with them. They need us and our smiles,
their parents.
and they do not understand anything else.
Right.
Let me wrap things with our favorite part of the show, which is build it or bag it. And I kind of know most of the answers, but I'll run it super quick. We have 1 more minute left.
Answer.
You're going to answer.
Yeah.
Black houses.
Love it, love it, love it all day long. Our house is not black, but it's a very deep, dark brown. And we have it. We're living in it for 4 years now, and I'm still loving it. I love it every day, all day long. And I'm going to add that it's very East Coast, Midwest, in my opinion, more than it is the West Coast. But I just love it so much. I love our dark house.
Awesome. I love black houses as well because you love it, but I love it as well. Micro cement everything. Can I answer?
Yes.
No. Just no.
Okay, that's fair.
I just have this one very particular experience with micro cement, and since then I just hate micro cement. It doesn't matter what happened. If it's gonna be the most beautiful micro cement, I just had this client. Well, no names again, but the entire house was micro cement, and there were a nightmare clients. There were just a nightmare clients, and ever since I just can't stand micro cement.
I also like there's something
It's just
in me
cold,
that
and it feels like you're
here's
dumping
my
something.
thing. If we need to do a concrete floor, then I just want to do the real thing. Not
Like a poured slab.
yeah. I don't want to do a micro cement.
Yeah.
I want to do concrete. But that's a whole different topic.
I mean, you can find a million ways to make your house feel more modern
Yeah.
if you're a modern kind of person.
I just hate to
I
use
just-
materials
and it's expensive. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, that was really expensive. It was like,
Yeah.
like out of the door, $45 a square foot. It's just, wow, that's not cheap.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of labor.
It's a lot of labor. I'm not a big fan as well. Anyways, wet rooms, Gil.
It really depends. If a client is asking me to do a wet room because they're into wet rooms, then sure. It just
Yeah. Open shelving.
I love open shelving.
Really? I thought you hate them. Oh my God.
Well,
you changed so much, Gil, in the past couple of days.
I mean, we always do shelving. I think I love enclosed storage, but I also like to be able to have some surfaces throughout the house, and I love to display art and personal items and personal accessories, and tell the story through a family's accessories. So
Cool.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the story part. I think adds character to whatever.
Yeah.
Side note, we got a couple of open shelvings in our living room, and I'm reorganizing them when I want some culture in, and Gil is coming over and she's really mad and she's reorganizing them again. So we got a really big fight around like two big shelves there. And one day we'll have two more shelves and each one will get, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I also like rearranging them from time to time.
Yeah, I got three
change it
more
up.
here, but I'm going to select just one that I think worth discussing. Two kitchen islands. What do you think about two kitchen islands?
Love.
Love. So let's do all white kitchen. Do you like all white kitchen?
No.
That's it.
I'm not doing any more white kitchens.
TV over fireplace.
I mean, we have to be realistic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you have two living rooms or a family room and a living room, then fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to do a TV over the fireplace. But if this is your main gathering space, then if possible, if budget allows, then I would enclose it. I would hide it, maybe. That could be a good idea. That's what we did
This
in
other
one of our
project, yeah.
recent projects. But we need to be realistic.
Cool. Now, Gil, if you had yourself listening to this podcast 5 years ago, give yourself one golden advice. Can be anything. Can be something on a spiritual level. Can be something on a professional level. Can be a combination of both. Give it to me. Things you know now you didn't know 5 years
That's a
ago.
really deep question
That's a
that
deep
I
question.
wasn't prepared to.
Yeah.
Stay positive, stay strong, stay calm. Don't let situations get under your skin. And just be yourself. And also things tend to work out. Things tend to fall in their place, crises. So it's all going to work out at the end. It's all going to be fine.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I
that's
can
it.
go on and just keep talking
It is
forever
endless, and
about
this is-
design
I told you you're gonna like it. You
and
were
construction
hesitant.
and
Yeah.
who's in charge. I love that.
Yeah. Podcasting is just a great platform to filter and to talk. It's
like a
our
therapy.
It's like a therapy. That is correct, and it's also very important. Because we have big plans for the podcast, but it's really important for us young professionals to share problems, wins, loss. Everything we had or planning to do with our audience, because I think the industry is kind of small, and the end client deserves more.
And also, anyway, we're talking about it so much between us
Yeah.
about the relationship and how things work. And I have to say that I think that having, if I'm looking at you, the fact that you're married to a designer, I believe that gives you a certain perspective that other GCs don't have. I believe that you always see the other side.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you.